this is what really helped skyrocket my French. Hello, it's Nicolette, and today I'm going to be walking you through the exact method that I used to learn French with movies and TV. Unfortunately, you can't just turn on a French movie and expect to become fluent. This isn't The Matrix.
I know Kung Fu.
But there are specific steps that you can take that will definitely improve your French and help you reach fluency. All right, are you ready? Let's get into it. The obvious first step is that you need to find movies and TV shows to watch, and they need to be the right kind. Let me explain. First of all, you need to make sure that what you're watching has both English and French subtitle options. I'll explain later why this is important and how we'll be using it. The second thing is that they actually need to be good movies, like movies that you truly enjoy, because that is what is going to keep you engaged, interested, and continuing to learn. So where do you find good French movies and TV shows? Well, in the past, I would have recommended like a bunch of different platforms. That's what I was doing when I was learning French. I was like pulling some from Netflix and Amazon and random French news channels. It was all over the place. But now, amazingly, I can recommend a single platform to find these. Oh my goodness, I really wish that this was a thing and existed when I was first learning French, because this would have saved me so much time, money, and effort. But now, today, I can give it to you, France Channel. France Channel is a single platform where you can find French movies, TV shows, documentaries, and news. It's basically like the mega Netflix of French content. And everything on their platform is subtitled in both French and English, so it's a fantastic tool for learning French. Also, what's really cool is that their platform is curated by actual French people who have worked in media and film and TV, so they know what's good and they put it on there. They have some fantastic movies on this platform, but I've also really been enjoying their like short series. So they have ones on like trails in the Pyrenees. They have a ton about Paris, different places in Paris. So those are really fun because they're these like short bite-sized things where you're able to practice French, but also be learning about French culture and different places in France. And what's even more exciting is that I have a discount code for you. If you use the code HELLO15, you can save 15% off either a monthly or yearly subscription. They also have a 7-day free trial, so you can give it a go and see if it's for you. But I won't be judging you if you don't like it, because what's not to like? Okay, so once you've found something to watch, the first step is that you're going to start watching this with English subtitles. Now, you're probably gonna be like, Nico, how is that gonna help if I'm watching a movie and just reading English the whole time? I'm trying to learn French. Trust me, it's gonna help. First off, when you are watching a movie in French with English subtitles, you are still, for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, hearing spoken French. So even if you're just focusing on the subtitles, your brain is still listening to spoken French. This is gonna get your brain and your ear familiar with French. It's also fantastic for helping your accent. Like, I really attribute French movies to helping me significantly improve my accent. The next thing it's gonna do is just, in general, introduce you to French culture, French actors, overall general Frenchiness. When you're learning a language, you're not just learning vocabulary and grammar, you are learning about the cultures and countries where that language is spoken. Maybe this gets you really excited about certain actors or directors that you want to see more of. Or maybe it gives you travel ideas of places you want to visit. Overall, watching French content is not only a way to learn the language, but get excited about it and to learn more about the culture. So once you've watched a lot of French movies with English subtitles, the next step is you're gonna switch those subtitles to French. When you first start this, it's gonna be a little intimidating, it's gonna be overwhelming, and you're not gonna understand everything that's going on. That's totally okay. And you know what? If you wanna ease yourself into this process, maybe take a French film that you've watched before, with English subtitles that you liked, and now watch it with the French subtitles. That way, you're not concerned about like losing the plot or like not understanding the plot, because you already know that, right? But now you are focusing on the French language part of it. Now, what this is doing when you're watching a French movie with French subtitles is you are able to both read and hear French at the same time. And that is so beneficial. This is helping with reading comprehension, listening comprehension, and just kind of putting it all together. Personally, this is the sweet spot. This is what really, really helped skyrocket my French. I was doing this for honestly years, like all throughout my French learning process. This is what I was doing. I was watching French movies with French subtitles. Now, was I occasionally pausing the movie to look something up? Yes. And you can do that. That's totally fine. But don't, pause at every single phrase or word that you don't understand. Be okay with watching the movie and only understanding 70 or 80% of it, okay? It's totally fine. It's still helping you. Now, pro tip. After you've watched a couple movies, you might notice that there are certain phrases or words that keep coming up. Like, oh yeah, I think I heard that in the last movie that I watched. If you do, a great thing is keep a list in, it can be a handwritten note or it can just be in your phone, on your notes app, and write down those words or phrases that keep coming up, because those are the words and phrases that you're most likely gonna be using a lot yourself when speaking French. Okay, another bonus tip is, let's say that you've kind of just like watched so many French movies and TV shows and you're like, I'm over this, I want to catch up on the latest season of like, I don't know, whatever show you're watching right now, okay? But a show that is not in French. Totally fine, go do that. But put on French subtitles. That way, when you're watching the latest season of The Last of Us or White Lotus or whatever you're watching, you can glance down and read some French. Surprisingly, when I've done this, I've picked up on some new French words, because a lot of times I've just been really curious. Like, I'll hear a character say something and I'll be like, oh, I wonder how you say that in French. Glance down at the subtitles. There it is. So yes, this is not to say that you constantly only need to be watching French movies and TV shows. That's not realistic. There is some fantastic English language content out there, and you should be enjoying that too. But if you want to add a learning element to it, turn on the French subtitles. Okay, if I'm being totally honest, you could spend your entire language learning journey just on watching French content with French subtitles. And that is 100% totally okay, and it's gonna be super helpful. However, if you want like ultimate challenge mode and you are really shooting for like full French fluency, this step is for you. You're gonna watch French movies without subtitles. That's right, you're gonna watch French movies how French people watch them. Now, for me, I live in France, so if I go to the movie theaters, this is how I'm watching movies. Like, there are no English subtitles, there are no French subtitles on French movies here. So I've really had to learn fast how to do this. But I did not just jump into a French movie theater and suddenly start watching French movies without any subtitles. I started at home first so I could get myself comfortable with this idea. What I would do is first, when I was watching a French movie with French subtitles on, I would start trying to look away from the subtitles. I would have them there kind of as like a security blanket, right? So if I needed them, I could look at them. But I tried to watch pretty much the whole movie without looking at the subtitles. I kind of wanted them on at first so that if I suddenly was getting really lost or they were speaking really quickly, I could look at the subtitles. But this was training me to eventually get to the no subtitle land. The land of no subtitles, you know what I'm saying. So then I moved on to totally getting rid of the subtitles. And this really forced me to figure out what the heck they were saying.
Pas compris, parle trop vite.
Peut-être qu'il parle le langage des signes.
I think the first movie I did this with was like some like thriller with Pierre Nini, and like there was not a lot of dialogue. There was like maybe like 30% of the movie had dialogue. It was a lot of like eerie, him alone in an apartment not talking scenes. So at the end of that movie, I was like, yeah, I understood like 95% of it. But really that was because like 70% of it was just no talking. But you know what? It was an accomplishment nonetheless, and it felt really good. So if you're up for this challenge, go for it. pro tip, maybe read just like the blurb about the movie. No spoilers, but the blurbs, you can like set yourself up, because I do remember there was one time I was watching a French movie in a theater and like I missed a very, very crucial thing about the plot. So I did not fully comprehend that movie just because I missed like one sentence at the beginning of the movie. So, you know, like read the 2-3 sentence blurb on IMDb before you go into this journey. All right, well, bon chance with your French language learning journey. Remember that you can sign up for France Channel to have a single platform with French movies, TV shows, news, and documentaries, all with French and English subtitles in one place. And you can use the code HELLO15 for 15% off your monthly or yearly subscription. Plus, they have a 7-day free trial, so you can give it a go beforehand. And let me know in the comments if you have any French movie or TV recommendations. All right, that's all for now. Happy watching. Au revoir.